Okay, this week we're going to talk about Wikipedia. Now, Wikipedia is a controversial subject. Some professors will forbid you from ever using it, even though, and studies have shown this. Nearly everybody, whether or not they're in school or just in regular life, nearly everybody is using Wikipedia online as an information source. Is this a problem? Well, I would say that that Wikipedia is tremendously problematic, but it's also tremendously useful. And I think that it could even be more useful and be a better information source than it is. Um, in many ways, it's functioning just like any encyclopedia or traditional one that's a physical book that's sitting on the shelves. I mean, it's doing the same job. It's sort of acting as a tertiary resource. I mean, you've heard of primary sources and secondary sources. Well, Wikipedia as an encyclopedia is supposed to be, even another step removed, where it really is just functioning as a directional aid of giving you the basics to do real research, and this is useful. I mean, we need to have sources like this. But we also need to be very careful about how we evaluate information that we find on here. But we should also be careful about information that we evaluate anywhere, even if it's in a traditionally published source, even if it's a physical book on library shelves. I think that a lot of the faculty that forbid using online sources, they're not really realizing what that means anymore. If you do a search for a company called AlphaScript Publishing on Amazon, now Amazon's a place where you buy books, right? Well, okay, AlphaScript Publishing. This is a publishing house. Apparently on Amazon they're selling 35,000 titles. Now, okay, that sounds suspicious, right? Now, if you take a look, these titles, they sound plausible. And there's editors listed, and there's a publishing house listed, a description, very brief. But a lot of books on Amazon are like this, right? It's got an ISBN. It looks like a real book. It's kind of expensive, but it looks like a real book. And and if you ordered it, you would get a real book. You'd get a book that looks like this. It's 73 pages. It's paper. It's a real book. But guess what? Somebody on Wikipedia actually scanned the whole copy of one of these books edited by these people. And of course, I mean, immediately it's suspicious that these three people are going to edit 35,000 books. I mean, that's, I don't know if that's even possible. But if you look, if you had a copy of this physical book off the library shelves, this is the only place where this company comes up front with the source of its content. So this book with an ISBN published by this publishing house, and it's, what it is? It's just Wikipedia entries printed out and bound as a real book. I mean, if you take a look inside it, that's what it is. This is the Wikipedia entry. Now, if you had a citation for this book, in a bibliography somewhere, it wouldn't look suspicious at all, because it would look like a regular book. But then again, so my question here is then what's the difference? Some of this information could be completely wrong, some of it could be completely right, but just because it's printed on paper and bound, it doesn't make it any more trustworthy. In fact, it makes it less trustworthy, because the actual Wikipedia entry is more likely to be corrected than, this book, which is just a static version of these Wikipedia entries printed out, on the shelves as this curiosity. So what I'm saying, Wikipedia, I think that it would be too simplistic to just say that this is a bad source and that we shouldn't use it. I think that we need to think about this as a new model for information sources online, and that we need to, participate in it in order to make it better. I think that it potentially can be something that's quite stronger in some ways than static encyclopedia sources. But of course, I mean, the Wikipedia, it's only about 10 years old. I mean, we have yet to see what's going to happen, what's going to develop. So that's just a little bit of a word of warning about, when talking about Wikipedia, you really have to do some thinking and consider all the angles of the subject. Do the reading for today's assignment, and then take a look at the videos, and then I hope you consider everything, and when you're doing this week's writing assignment, which I hope you'll enjoy, because it's structured a little bit differently than some of the other ones.